Good afternoon, everyone. Miguel, you can get started. It's 5:37. You've got 4 members of your committee here.
It's going to be an extended day no matter what, but we had on the legal portion, legal review, we had some attorneys that needed to be present, and I think we only have one gentleman that is willing to take one for the team. But
yeah, I think we should wait for them. But we have a few items on the agenda.
right.
As discussed, though, it's I guess we want to clarify the committees, the subcommittees that are meeting, or if we're just going to have a subcommittee. I think that's important because there's, a few people that are not here yet that I know wanted to be involved in some
Right.
of these.
The as far as addressing it, because we had originally had created we had one committee for each item, and then it was combined the 3 items into one. So it's going to continue as one subcommittee.
Yeah, that's fine.
So then, yes. Well, this is actually a subcommittee meeting, not a regular committee. I'm no longer the chair for today. I think we need to go through the standards. Do you have? I don't think you got the agenda. Let me grab it. So being that today is actually a subcommittee, not the actual Blasting Advisory Board, I'll do the courtesy of emceeing, and we'll call the meeting to order. Today is 6th of 30th, 2021. The time now is 5:39, and this is the Blasting Advisory Board Subcommittee. We'll do a roll call.
If you all can just go around the room and introduce yourselves, and that will take care of roll call.
Good.
What would constitute as introducing myself? All right. My name is Angel Armesto.
Rafael Antonio de la Vega.
Ray Garcia.
Miguel Martinez.
Stephen Herzberg.
So I guess the next item is for elections. I believe we had discussed to have a 3-member board, to have a chair, the vice chair, and the secretary. Do we have any volunteers to be elected?
I guess maybe a question first. Obviously, chair of the subcommittee would have to attend all the subcommittees, which is fine. And just for everyone's knowledge, what else? What responsibilities for each one? Secretary, taking the notes, prepare the minutes for a subcommittee. What are responsibilities for the other 2?
Well, typically how these things work, to my knowledge, I have not been a member of a subcommittee, but the chair or the parent committee generates goals for the subcommittee. The goals are what are to be obtained for the committee, the parent committee. The subcommittee, how they handle that is up to the subcommittee. In other words, the parent committee, in layman's terms, doesn't really care how it gets done. It just needs to get done. So that being said, then we're creating a new committee under the umbrella of the parent committee, where we'll have each member. The chair then is obviously responsible for creating the agenda. My personal belief on this, though, it'll be short-lived. This isn't a long-standing subcommittee because of the actions that we're doing. So we need to decide on how many meetings, in a timely fashion. We need to decide on each activity. In other words, a date, assign tasks to get these activities done. The organizational body then will start from the chair down of the subcommittee. So that's hopefully answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So that,
I apologize. I was out for the last meeting, so I know I wasn't invited to this one. I apologize. I thought this was a regular meeting, so I apologize for barging in like this. So, you guys selected the subcommittee members already. I assume that's why they're here.
we have not elected the subcommittee members. It was
Oh, okay.
welcome.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's the question I had. Okay, perfect.
So just to bring you up to speed then, there's 3 items that we want to address. The blasting bike ride, the legal review of the conflicting statutes that has been divulged or has been discussed, and a full-blown rally. Bringing media attention and we have combined forces with Miramar's Blasting Advisory Board. And Angelo was there and had given some ideas. We discussed different ideas there, a location that's feasible for all communities centrally located. But these are the type of things that, it's not finalized by no means, but they're just a thought. And that's what needs to get addressed. So we created a subcommittee. Originally we created 3 subcommittees, and then it was decided to combine all 3 since they're short-lived each item,
Okay.
and move forward that way.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right. Is there any public comments? I guess moving to item number 4. Well, I'm sorry, we have to finish it. Item number 3, elections.
Same.
Not bad.
I'm happy to volunteer myself to be chair of the subcommittee. And,
Okay.
We'll see who else wants to join.
Any other
Yes, I'd like to volunteer for vice chair.
vice chair? Okay. Any other positions? Like chime in? Well, we'll have a vote unless there's only one person that's volunteering per position, then it's a default, obviously. But so we're doing the subcommittee, combining the 3 items. So if you're wanting to put your hat in the vice chair also, okay.
I guess secretary is what's left, right? So
Well, we have so we have 1 chair, 2 vice chairs, and the secretary.
yeah, well,
So
Unless we just want to have them duel out who gets vice chair and who gets secretary. Unless I don't know. I don't know who wants.
you want to duke it out? Is that what you're saying?
However,
Paper,
however
rock,
it works.
scissors?
That's actually a
No,
pretty good way to
it's
do it.
fun. I concede the vice chair.
You can see. Okay. So
I don't want to
then,
duke it. I don't want to duke it out. Get any bruises.
no, man.
We still paper, rock, scissors. It's up to you.
We do need a secretary, so
You want? You good? You want to be secretary, or you want? Oh, okay. No, that's fine. I'll be secretary. That's no big deal.
All right. So I guess by default, congratulations, gentlemen. I hand the mic over to you now, sir.
okay. So we have the elections done, and we have public comments. Is there anyone here for public comments?
No one from the public.
Well, Hope Reynolds asked me to read this as public comments.
Go ahead.
She's is Hope Reynolds, 8465 Menteenth Terrace. She says, we know town of Miami Lakes is returning to normal operations, but does it make sense to prevent property owners and town residents from participating via Zoom or remote comments? Does it make sense to anyone that we get into traffic, use gas, and is now expensive? It erodes our budget, be exposed to dismal weather conditions, get wet, and enter the building that is so cold we could probably end up sick. All for 3 minutes allowed for public comments. We want to thank this group for this work you're doing. We pray for the victims of Surfside families and first responders. Channel 23 investigative reporter Erica Carrillo is doing an in-depth review only to find permits issued to a company not licensed to do electrical work. A building department official who told property owners that had nothing to worry about, showing the damage to the structure through photographs that are so similar to the photos Miguel Martinez has been showing us for years, that we thank God for this group to lead us out of the nightmare represented by the building walls that crack, pools that leak water, patio materials, driveways, roof damage because of blasting. Since the collapse happened, we have not felt the tremors of blasting. We stand with you, and while we're not present, we are watching from the comfort and safety of our home and shall read and review the Florida statutes and code. Again, thank you. This is the time to lead the town of Miami Lakes to successful impact on legislation that puts an end to the abuse of the governed. Thanks for listening. Esperanza Reynolds.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You can have a seat.
I was out.
Is there anyone else for public comments?
Would she like to?
Ma'am, would you like to provide public comments? Would you like to speak in public comments? Would you like the opportunity to address the board? Yes, right now.
Good evening. My name is Fidel Jabore. I live in Miami Lakes, Royal Oaks. I'm here because I got the invitation of today we were having like a blasting discussion, meeting, whatever you want to call it. The reason I'm here because for the past 20 years that I live in my house, I've been suffering this blasting. This blasting has gone forever. I see you shaking your head. Maybe you don't believe me, but it is true. I bought my house. I finished construction my house in 2000. I bought the lot in 1998. It was a pre-construction lot. It took almost 2 years to be built. When I moved on September 18 of 2000, only a week after I moved, my house was empty. And I felt back then my hearing was okay before my cancer. Back then, I heard some weird noise, like a cracking. I thought it was my daughter, 14 months old, that she dropped some toys. So I went around, I didn't see anything. A week of moving into my house. Okay, I called my husband, I go, I've been hearing cracking, and I felt like something moving. He goes, the house is empty. It could be the echo. Just nice running around with toys. Okay. The same afternoon, I felt the cracking. So I told my husband, I'm not going crazy. I'm feeling this cracking. I'm hearing something weird. So he goes, look around. My husband is an underground utility engineer. He knows about blasting. He knows what blasting does. So he goes, do you feel any shaking? I go, yes, I did. He goes, well, go to the main office and tell them that you felt something to go to the house and revise the house. At the entrance of my house, the first entrance, there was 1, 2, 3, like 4 tiles cut. The gentleman came, he goes, Senora. Spanish is at first. Do you notice that? I go, yes. He goes, well, that's what did that, not us. I go, and I'm gonna fix it. He fixed 4 tiles. Okay. A week after, the same person cracked. He came again. He goes, we're not fixing it again. I go, sir, it's been almost 2 years me building the house. In 2 weeks, this happened, and you said you're not gonna do it? You have to do it. I didn't have any idea what blasting was. I didn't have any idea what's going on. So since that, it fixed. It broke again the third time. They didn't fix it. I didn't fix it. It was September 18, 2000 when I moved. December, I started feeling bad. I had cancer. Against the odds, I gave birth because I was pregnant. My house kept on cracking. My husband declared bankruptcy because he has to pay for my pregnancy because I almost died in pregnancy. I bled to death. My pool yard, new, constructed, it started cracking all over. So back then, I had Liberty Mutual. I didn't know what blasting was. I didn't want to know anymore. I was too concerned of my health and my children, two by the time. My daughter, 14 months, and my baby. So I called Liberty Mutual. I go, sir, my pool is sinking. It has some cracking. It took 2 weeks for them to investigate. They never told me what it was, if they were going to cover, nothing. They abandoned the case. They raised the premium that they were not supposed to. I lost $500,000 of a life insurance because they put the premium up that I couldn't pay. So I lost that money. I hired another company, insurance company. My house kept on cracking. My house kept on getting worse. My feeling, my small, the pool. If any of you have seen my pictures, any of you have seen how bad was my pool. I almost died that day of a heart attack. It was a Friday afternoon. I was going around my pool, and a double blast happened at 2:15 to 30, something like that. I was standing beside my tiki, just looking around, shaking my head. How am I gonna fix this? $30,000, $40,000? I don't have health insurance. I have health issues. What is more important for me? To pay for my medicine. The blasting happened. That portion, since I took the wooden part that it was bad, it was running, I took it out. That portion sank completely, and I wasn't there. I started screaming. I started screaming. My kids came running. My heart went to the thought. They took me to emergency because they thought I was having a heart attack. My husband started screaming. He goes, enough is enough. Enough is enough. The insurance came and goes, that's blasting, we don't cover. I asked, why are you saying blasting? I haven't mentioned that word, but we know you live in the blasting zone. You know when I bought? I go, if I would have known, believe me, I wouldn't have bought here. Because back then, what I paid is not what you pay now. So I wouldn't have a chance to live in someplace else, maybe fetal blast, God knows, because they don't tell you. So the reason I'm here is somehow I understand the mining company completely. It's their business. They provide the family for that. But you need to understand that where you're doing your business, you're affecting many communities. Not only Miami Lakes, no PSN, no Miramar. You're not affecting houses. You're affecting schools. You're affecting businesses. You're affecting lives. Don't you understand that it's going to bed and have nightmares that you feel like your roof is going to collapse and kill your kids? Nobody understands that because they think that we are faking, that we are saying to get paid. You know what I told the owner of White Rock when he came to my house? He came to my house because I kept on pressuring. Why? Because I was getting sick. The damages was getting worse. My kids would see me day by day crying. My husband was going crazy, working in 2 jobs. I was sick. I didn't want to go to the hospital. Why? Because my kids have to eat. I don't have money to pay my medical bills. So I sacrificed everything for my kids. But I keep driving them crazy. I'm driving my family crazy. Whoever went to my house a year ago, 2 years ago, and saw my property would understand me. So White Rock right now, I understand perfectly. It's their business. They provide food to the family. But they need to understand that in 2021, we live where 1,000 houses. Now, when they started building, they started doing the blasting, there was nothing around. So go ahead, do your business. You're not damaging anything. But once you realize that what you're doing is creating damages, you're getting rich. You're getting a lot of money for your company. But a lot of people are losing their investment, the years that they've been working and working and working and working. So they need to understand that. That is not the point. And I told the owner, sir, I don't want your money. If you think I'm giving complaint in Tallahassee, If you think I'm driving Manny Diaz Jr. crazy with my emails, it's because I want you to come here. Here's a check. No, sir. You know better than me. Come with your construction company and fix my house. It's your money. You should know how much it costs to fix everything. Oh, you don't want my money? No. God knows I don't want your money. I want you to fix my house. I want you to go far away where you could keep destroying my house. Fix my house. The same moment that he was in my house, a blasting happened and a piece of concrete from the backyard popped out. My husband, sir, you felt it? I didn't feel anything. What do you mean you didn't feel anything? No, what happened? Oh, that's construction. The land must be down. He goes, sir, whenever I ask you a question, I'm a professional. I expect to have a professional answer. Don't get me as stupid because I am not stupid. First of all, they came like 6, 7 gentlemen. When they came in, that the language that you used talking to me, it was kind of inappropriate to talk to a woman. My husband was in the kitchen. They thought I was by myself. So my husband goes, I heard you. And the reason I'm here is because you're not talking to a woman, you're talking to my wife. So if you come with all your equipment to intimidate my wife, you better get out of my house. So he apologized at that moment. But every time my husband would ask him a question, he would give him a smart answer. My cabinet of the kitchen has moved up. How you explain that? I don't know. Has moved up, has shifted to the left. The entrance of the walls up top are cracked completely. The ceilings are cracked. My husband goes, the tiles of the kitchen, the pop, like popcorn. Besides the crack, the snake crack, the wheel what side crack. He goes, oh, I'm pretty sure that your wife or your kids slammed that door heavy enough. I go, sir, the cabinet on top of the refrigerator are hardly reach. I have to get on the chair. There's things from Christmas, little things. I'm sorry, but we don't slam the door that much to move a cabinet that is big. And it's moved like this. It's moved up. The same as a cement that I have outside. It's against gravity. Instead of moving to the right side, my cement part is moving, it's shifted to the left. My house is shifted like this, by this much. The entire house, I have papers, I have documents of engineering and people that came to my house. Now, how could they say that the constant blasting that is enough to move this building? Because this building, people have felt it in this building. This building, I don't know how many stories. So how could they say that a blasting of whatever explosive they use is not damaging the houses? Compare a little earthquake, how it breaks the street, the roads. Compare those cracking similar to the picture of our damages. Show me the difference. Same. So the reason I'm here is, like I said, I want justice for my house. I have justice for my family. My husband is working 2 jobs. Why? Because I'm driving him crazy. Why? Because I'm constantly thinking, babe, the ceiling, babe, the roof, the tiles are cracked. The top of the tiles are popping up and are cracked, and they have moved from spaces. I have called 3 companies. None of them, first of all, to do the pressure cleaner, wants to do it because they say it's not safe. I have to pressure clean or do something because otherwise the city will give me a fine because my roof is dirty. So none of the company wants to go up there. I call a roofing company. I go, how much is it to fix? He goes, first of all, we're not going up there. He showed me. The tiles are cracked, are separated, and it's loose. My entire roof is loose. He goes, sorry, ma'am. It's like $30,000, $40,000. You need to change the entire roof. We're not going up there. I go, but you give me an estimate. So I go, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, because you have 1,000 tiles broken, separated, apart. So why am I gonna lie to you? I go, thank you. So it's something that it has to come to an end. Either they move, either Tallahassee force a law that it will give insurances. Homeowners have the potential of saying, I have these damages, come investigate the damages. Come and see what I have and say, okay, you are a victim, this is the amount of money, fix it. Make Tallahassee, if nobody's able to have what they have to stop White Rock, then make Tallahassee to do a law to say, okay, the insurances has to cover for the damages. It has been proven that this amount of shaking, ground shaking that is constantly is creating these damages. White Rock, far away. Make sure that wherever they do the businesses, there's no properties. Make sure of that. We have pictures, we have proof. Before all this in my house was happening, my kids, my second son was in Bob Graham Education Center. He was in the second floor. He was on a student, a special ed student. When I went up there, the entrance had a cracking from floor to up. I went straight to Miss Bierman, back then the principal. I told her, ma'am, that concrete is cracked. It is dangerous because the stairs is right there. Somehow they fix it.
Adele, I apologize, but we have a lot of information to go over today, and if we can move on with this, and I apologize, but we have a lot of information to go over today. If you could save some of that info for the rally and say it in front of the TV cameras, it would be appreciated. But we need to decide now on all the events that are going to take place. So, okay.
Yeah. If
Thank you.
if I may interject and just add a suggestion.
I lost the capacity to understand the speech because of my cancer and the amount of medication I have. So I could hear everybody, but
Right.
exactly the speech what you're saying, if I don't get close and read your lips.
All right, so I'm just gonna
So
can I walk
that's
up to
one
her
of
to tell her?
The
All
main
right.
problem that I isolate myself because I get embarrassed. I see people talking and I would like to be in the conversation, but it's like,
My suggestion is to get in front of a computer, write down your entire story, so that way you can hand it out to us and we have more time to read it and analyze it. So whenever you have time, write down your story, include your address, and get that to us. And we'll take a look at it.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate it. We know there's a lot of people that have your same exact story regarding the frustration.
There's definitely a lot of people, but I'm glad that somebody's willing to speak up because everybody wants the problem solved, but nobody wants to do anything. So I think Adele.
All right.
I believe that closes public comments, and we'll get on to item 5, which is new business, and item 5A is the blasting bike ride that we've been discussing. So the first thing to discuss is a date for this bike ride. Last meeting, we discussed that I forgot which committee it was that said they wanted to do it in November.
The Neighborhood Improvement Committee. Right.
So, but November is far.
It's not
gonna
happen.
It's not going to
Right.
work.
Through
for us.
the chair, real quick, I know you discussed last meeting with the other committees about not having a budget, right? We don't have a budget. We have to ask for a budget. And those discussions are coming up pretty soon, right?
Well, that comes in September.
Sure, September. So I don't know if we're putting the cart before the horse when it comes to, because this is going to obviously cost money, right? So,
I don't think so.
For the
We
bike
can-
ride?
Yes, and that's why we have Major Ruiz here who will provide you with sort of the procedures of how we move forward with bike rides, and if you give him a moment, yes.
Good evening, everybody. Javi Ruiz, your town commander. So Claricel mentioned something about a bike ride and asked me to come by in order to, I guess, gather some information in terms of what you guys had planned. My understanding is the Neighborhood Improvement Committee, what normally happens is they plan their bike rides, and when they plan their bike rides, they let us know, for example, it's going to be on this Saturday. And when we do it on a Saturday, we let them know what the overtime cost is going to be for those personnel that I have to bring in order to do the community bike ride. So it depends on how many people we're going to have, how many is needed, what we expect. Now, that being said, I guess the questions that I have, because I have very minimal information regarding this, and I do apologize, is this something that you guys are planning on the tail end of a bike ride for the Neighborhood Improvement Committee? Or were you guys planning to do something separate? I guess I would kind of need some more information here.
I mean, Miguel, you can share a little bit more of your discussions with that committee, but
You don't have the information because we that's what this committee is about, to
Got it.
decide on it. So no need to apologize that it hasn't been set yet.
Okay.
Now, the reason for the Neighborhood Improvement Committee joining with them, they've done these things before. Unfortunately, we didn't see eye to eye on how to conduct it. The intention of this, whether it evolves into something repeated, that's yet to be decided. Right now, it was literally just to go through the neighborhood, raising awareness, which is the intention of this body, of the issue of blasting. Many people, vast majority of the people don't know what they're looking at. They'll feel a tremor, but it ends there. And they don't know how to recognize damages, physical damages to their property. So the intent of this was to go out to the community on something fun, a family type oriented thing, have the ride led by a Florida legislator. We've been speaking with Tom Fabricio, Representative Tom Fabricio, to do this. Hopefully, if the police can join us, whether it be on their bikes or motorcycles, and make noise physically and literally, crank up your sirens, lights, and let's have some fun.
So if I may interject, I guess we might have a bit of, I don't want to say dilemma there, but so there are three things that I'm looking at. One is obviously one of the main objectives of the police department is to combat crime. The second is to provide for the safe and expeditious flow of traffic. And the third that ties these things together is a community policing aspect. So whenever someone mentions an event or something along those lines, I try and coordinate it into one of those three groupings to see where we land. Obviously, when the Neighborhood Improvement Committee does their community bike rides, it's a family get together, it's an event, it's, and my officers are out there to interact with the community in order to develop relationships with the people in the community and to show them that police officers are friendly and to develop partnerships. This is obviously something that is more of a political nature in terms of the fact that you guys are attempting to engage the Florida elected officials to enact legislation that will help stop this blasting thing. And although personally I agree with it, it's not really something that gels with the community policing aspect of it. So I kind of have to push that to the side for a second and then run to the safe and expeditious flow of traffic. So we can provide assistance in terms of maybe having a couple of units help, establish a route, one in the front, one in the back, in order to assist with the safe flow of the bike riders, depending on how many you're going to have. There are certain areas that we shy away from exploring. So, for example, and I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but that's so that you guys can discuss amongst yourselves and plan accordingly. One is we never cross from east to west because that means that we have to shut down traffic on the Palmetto Expressway or the entrance and exit ramps to the Palmetto Expressway. So whenever we hold bike rides, we either do it on the east side or we do it on the west side, and we try and go back and forth to different ones so that we explore all of the town. But we may do 1 month, east and 1 month west. This is just something safety-wise that we're trying to ensure the safety of the community and not shut down traffic on the most main thoroughfare within the northwest part of the county. The other is that if you're looking at 200 bike riders, then we may need to shut certain things down. So you may need, 5 or 6 police cars to kind of shut down intersections so everybody can go through appropriately. If you're looking at 30 bike riders, I might just need 2 to 3 vehicles. So when you guys are planning all this out, depending on when it is, what the cost is, I would tell you that right off the top of your head, if you want to throw down, for example, 2 police officers, then you're looking at 2 police officers for a 4-hour minimum for about $60 to $65 an hour of overtime expenditure. That can help you determine how much you need to ask for in terms of budgetary requests when you guys bring it up before the council or something along those lines, if you're going to continue with the bike ride scenario. I think I'll stop there for a minute so that maybe you guys got questions or something.
Right. No, I mean, that's useful information. And I think we would probably stick to the west side of town. I think our route would be that.
I think the west side probably more appropriate.
Right, of course.
We were looking at doing, although the west side seems more appropriate, we're looking to see if the possibility is combining it so that we can end the ride at the farmer's market. But it doesn't seem like it's a feasible thing. But that's what this is about, a roundtable discussion to see who, what, where, and why. And obviously participation. For as far as amount, size of this, by the intent, my understanding, and again, for discussion, I see approximately 30 riders moving, but the intent is to rile up people. So as you're riding through town, people are at their homes and, interacting with this mass that's coming through. Again, this is something fun. This wasn't to be something so, and I don't want to make it, I don't agree with you, was make it political.
Right,
but
I understand that. And I partially agree with what you're saying too.
Right. So I like the idea of it. Basically, it was showing that we're one body, from the police to our representative to the homeowners to whomever. It affects everybody. This isn't a matter of selecting who's affected and who's not. It doesn't work like that.
And understand that a lot of my officers live in the area, and a lot of my officers are affected by blasting, and even my house is affected by blasting. So, on a personal note, I always try and remain apolitical, but I totally agree with what's going on. But there's a difference between, community policing aspect that we normally do, where you have the bike riders, my officers as bike riders with, and talking to people as they're riding bikes and obtaining people for a rally in order to push for certain legislation to be done. It's a line that we may not be able to quite cross at this point. And so what I would suggest is if you guys do a bike ride and you end up at some type of rally point, from what I see here, we can provide traffic assistance. We can provide, because what we want is the safe flow of bike riders on the road. So we can possibly get officers in their vehicles that may shut down 1 or 2 intersections in order to assist you in what you do. And then at the last and final point, you guys obviously will stick around for any traffic control that may be done. So from the traffic control perspective, I can definitely provide assistance there. And if you guys give me, this is the number we're looking at, this is, the date and the time and the hours, then I can go to my staff and say, all right, let's take a look at this. What do we need? My planners, we definitely need a first guy and a tail guy, maybe a leapfrog guy. So you're looking at 3, maybe 4 or something along those lines. So just think minimum 3, maximum 5 officers, 4 hours each at $65 in order to kind of like get a quick budget as to what you're gonna do.
Through the through the chair, what's the minimum for each officer? How many hours? Because no one's foreseeing a 4-hour bike ride, of course. So what?
But this is kind of like a callback, situation, and per contract, we're looking
4
at a 4
hours
hour minimum.
minimum.
And that's why I say that out. And also you have, it really depends what they've been doing for the neighborhood committee ones is 4 hours, if I remember correctly. You have half an hour to be there beforehand to brief the officers. The sergeant briefs the officers, tells them their assignments, goes over the route, things of that nature, so on and so forth. So you have time before and after in order to get everything back together again. So
Makes sense.
I do I'm the president of the PSN Town Center.
Mhm.
And each year I do a car show. And we incorporate a neighborhood walk. And it's been split since then, but it's basically a 1 mile walk from Matter Academy to the town center. And we have several officers that leapfrog the intersections to allow the group to get through. Each year it may vary between 500 to 1,000 people doing this walk, and it's done in about 20 to 30 minutes. So it always becomes an issue of the 4-hour minimum block for 20 minutes of time. So what I have done in the past is I actually retain the services of an officer with a car. He adds, it gives the security element to the event. That person is also leading. We have a fire truck actually that leads the procession. That vehicle is at the rear, but we have officers on bikes that are leapfrogging through the group to intersection, and a lot of them they're actually on duty. So through the commissioner's office, they provided on-duty officers to work with us for this, so it minimizes the impact of and the cost expense. It's been very successful since then.
And that's something we can definitely explore. We can try to utilize on-duty personnel. Now, understand that the resources that Northwest District has in PSN, they will have 3 squads working the whole district. And when one squad resources are utilized here, the other 2 squads are put in 2 area patrol and can kind of cover for that 3rd squad. So we may not have the resources available for that. I might be able to utilize 1 on-duty person in accordance with the other. I will try and save money whenever possible. But in many circumstances, because we're, spread out and have 1 squad, I may not have the resources available that the districts do. And is this something that you guys would look at just doing within the town, or are you weren't looking at going into PSN or anything of that?
If it was up to me, I would ride through the whole area, but I know that's not feasible. It'd be great to go through PSN, parts of it, and end up in Miami Lakes, because it literally shows a timeline by the vintage of the homes of PSN. Miami Lakes, this is what you're coming into.
Right.
Obviously, that's a logistic nightmare to do something like that. But again, it's on the floor.
Sure. Yeah. I think if you were going to go outside the town, you'd have to look at contacting, Northwest District, let them know, see if they have additional personnel available. We're kind of constrained a bit, and then it really depends on the timing of the situation as well. If obviously you guys aren't going to do it next week, because that would be impossible. but it may be something that can be planned out.
I mean, I'm thinking if we were to meet at the soccer park of 87th Avenue, cross onto the bike path along the canal, you could see the homes in PSN, you know, there's
Yeah.
across the street, and then come into Royal Oaks and meander through that way. I think that's a feasible thing, and it gives a starting point where the cars can be parked and staged and go from there. Again, these are just thoughts.
What type of lead time do you need to set something like this up?
Well, I mean, you know, my understanding of how these things work with committees, I believe that you guys will eventually have to take this before the council. Am I correct in that assumption?
They have approved
For the budget request.
Right.
So with that much leeway, we know, you know, we know that the earliest you can do it is, I guess, you know, first week of August or something like that. We'd have more than enough time to kind of get that done. You know, you're either going to take it to the council in July or August, and, you know, either way, we should have more than sufficient time to prep for that.
Miguel, just one comment. I honestly, I agree with what you said in the beginning, focusing on the west side, even through PSN. There's a big difference right down 82nd Avenue. West side feels it a little bit stronger than the east side of 82nd Avenue. So as
Agreed.
closest to the quarry as possible. I mean, so maybe just cut that corner, hit that spot, and come right back.
How if we did it on a Saturday morning early, if we went down 87th Avenue, I'm thinking to go
Yeah,
to
87th Avenue is not
Satori
bad at all.
and going south instead of going west from the park.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just brainstorming at this point. If we went south into the community that's up against I-75 towards Barbara Goldman, go through that area. The only
Yeah, they probably
critical spot is the light at 87th and 154.
Yeah.
I think that I think it's actually quite doable in terms of, because again, we're just going to provide traffic control in terms of if there's one or two intersections that need to be kind of blocked off so you guys can go through safely. But if you're going through communities, there's really not much needed in terms of police traffic control, you know, along those areas. And remember, the bicyclists have, you know, the same
The right away.
same rights and responsibilities as anybody in a vehicle driving down. If you're going to drum up noise, like I guess my question is what are we looking at in terms of there are no vehicles attached to this?
No.
Through the chair, I know we discussed in the past when you first came up with the idea. I'm sorry. Through the chair, my apologies. That you've collected many, or
The committee.
chair of the committee has collected many addresses of people that live in that area. If we could maybe select 10 homes with visible damage, contact them and ask them, hey, can we come by on this certain date with some people to see the damage, right? Because this is educational as well, right? And we can make a route, we could create a route that's easier to get to, maybe 10 or 15 homes.
Right.
Because that's gonna, if we get off each home, that's gonna take about 2 hours, right? So.
Overall, I believe I
Yeah.
would think 2 hours is
So 10, maximum 15 homes that agree. We can create a route. It'll be easier for the, you know, for the officers to know where we're going, especially in that side, because I walked that side a lot and I saw a lot of damage. In fact, everybody was like, hey, come in, look at my damage. So the tile is absolutely popping up and all that. So, and I know you have a lot of examples of areas where you think would be the better, would really make a difference visually if people saw it.
right. I mean, I know I've been to Adele's house numerous times. That's a prime example. It defies logic, the damage that she has, and it's something to be beholden. Hope had given me a few locations. I've asked people that have asked her, hey, come by here and look at this for the same. I'm not familiar so much by, she gave a route. I'm not so familiar just to say this. Maybe the officer knows better than I hope you do. But yes, I think we need to identify, like, do we have a map? Can we get a map of Miami Lakes that we can look at? Do you have that?
Right there.
There's one kind of up there. So if you're,
It's a little difficult to see. Can we get a printout of one? Of the west side, please?
Yeah.
Can we get a printout of the west side of Miami Lakes? We have the street addresses.
We also got to focus on the 87th and 186th, so the PSN and the west side of PSN.
Well, we can't go into PSN. It's a
Yeah.
different jurisdiction.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. If we start at the park, that's probably the most north west
Yeah.
corner, and come down from there, unless, or maybe Barbara
Yeah.
Goldman could be a good starting point.
Definitely, yeah. There's plenty of homes.
it's your ending point, I guess, or we're still discussing.
Well, I don't know if we do a loop or like I said, originally the idea was to end up at the farmer's market, then we disperse from that point.
Right.
But I don't think it's not feasible doing this. So if we did a loop, might be better suited.
Yeah, remember that, my guys are physically fit and they ride bike up and down, and it's a long bike ride sometimes.
Right.
So people are tired by the end of wherever you're ending up. It could be a very hot day. So these are things to kind of take into consideration, that if you're going to do a bike ride, that you're going to, you may be doing, it may not appear it, but you're doing a 3 to 6 mile loop and in the hot sun and so on and so forth. So
The one we have to watch out for is Angel.
yeah. So,
I'm the young one. I'm in my prime.
That's why we got to
He's
watch
gonna
out for you.
smoke
We
everybody.
don't want something to happen to you.
Through the chair, yes. So perhaps as close as possible to the park.
Right.
There's plenty of homes. I'm
So-
sure there's examples there. I don't know where she lives, ma'am? Where?
She lives in Royal Oaks.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I heard correctly, but the starting point now is to be changed to the Royal Oaks Park, the soccer park.
The Royal Oaks Park or Barbara Goldman was a big parking lot there.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, either one we can loop back.
right.
Yeah.
Well, if we do it at the park, we have the resources of the town.
Yeah. I think
More
it's
readily
by default.
available.
There's a bathroom there.
Yeah, if we do it at school, we don't
Yeah.
have any
I
resources there.
think the park is better suited.
If we keep it on there, on the west side there, there's really not many major intersections for, that create any issues. I mean, you said 3 officers. The other thing is we have to figure out what type of attendance we're expecting and
Right.
estimate. If it's 30 or 40, you're thinking still 3 on that side?
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna run with 3 when it's, and I have to go back and tell my guys, all right, let's sit together, let's plan this out. This is the route that's been provided. So, a couple of things. First, I would need to know how many people you're anticipating. Second, I would need to know what the route is. And once that's established, we can identify, all right, as we're going, this is we're going to need to, this intersection we can ignore, this one we're going to have to cover, so on and so forth. And what I'm looking at, normally for a normal community bike ride, I believe we're looking at about 8 or 9 officers when we do it with the Neighborhood Improvement Committee. That's because I have about 3 to 4 officers already in the pack riding bicycles with everybody there. They're all doing this on pay. I also have a lead vehicle. I have a vehicle at the rear. And you have about, 100 participants. So you also have a sergeant kind of directing things, moving ahead to the next one, saying, okay, we need this, we need that. And lastly, since you have about 100 participants, it always happens where one bike chain breaks and, we need to help them out. One thing that we've gotten in the past, which if you guys decide to do all this, is we've asked for assistance in the previous couple that we did before COVID of getting the freebie, in the area, so that if somebody's car breaks down or somebody's bike breaks down, they're able to get a ride afterwards or something along those lines.
What's been the max and min amount of riders in the past with those rides?
Oh man. I can't tell you. I'd say, yeah, we could go with around 200 when it was jam packed.
The night ones, the
this-
ones in the night get more
The
people.
night one was
Starting from here, amazing. Yeah,
but
it's a lot of
we
people
actually
there.
added a couple additional personnel on that because it's
Yeah.
nighttime as well, and you had several stops.
Yeah.
So, but I'll tell you that the max we've had is 200. The smallest is probably about 100. So we're in that range back and forth.
Yeah.
And remember that in those we have small kids, we have people with
Yep.
with the trailers and stuff like that. So it's people fall behind, and our officers are able. So that's why I'm kind of thinking that if I go with 3, with a group of 30 who are all basically adults, we might be all right there. If you guys are expecting kids and stuff like that, it might be a little bit more involved. So that's why as you guys plan it, I would say plan for 5, because I'm not going to utilize the guys on bikes so much. This is not something where we're talking or anything, spending time with families. This is more of a traffic control thing. And on a side note, because of COVID hitting last year, one of the things that we did, we augmented some of our community events. For example, the Santa vehicle parade that we had. I think we recently did another one, the Easter one, thank you, where somebody was dressed as a bunny on top of the car and, driving through. So Veterans Day parade was another one where we did a vehicle parade. And in those, because it was so convoluted, we had about 20 officers shutting down all the intersections, but you also had about 100 vehicles. So the more you have, the more officers that you're going to need.
Through the chair. Have we had? I don't remember having a ride on the west side when I was on the committee. Was there? I didn't participate on the west side, but
Yeah, we actually started the bike rides in the
you
west
and
side.
came to the east. Yeah.
Now, this was before I got here. Understand that they've been going on for a good while now. It's one of the reasons that we've established such a great reputation in terms of our bicycle friendly neighborhood.
Sure.
But we started in the west side, and then we kind of shifted over to the east side, and have been doing that a couple of
Starting
times on
from
the east side.
town hall. I have participated in the rides, and I can tell you guys, it's a lot that goes into these rides, and that committee does an amazing job. And they have years of experience, and they have contacts, even people that come in that from the county that provide bicycles as well, and they work with different organizations for the helmets and things like that. So I honestly would love to combine our forces. Doing an individual ride like that, if we're expecting more than 30 people, their expertise would come in very handy. And so if they're saying we need to wait a couple months for that to get their buy-in for that, I would recommend waiting.
That would, yeah, but it's not feasible. It's not feasible for the only ride. If we're only doing one ride and getting the word out is one thing,
Mhm.
because they're proposing something that is going to exclude key components of this.
Okay.
So then why are we doing this? Thank you.
Right. I believe November, the legislator's in session.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we can't even get the legislator to lead the ride. I think
Gracias.
that's a main issue. I agree that it would be great if
It'd
they
be
could
great.
help
Absolutely.
us, and maybe we should invite some of their committee members to another subcommittee meeting to give us some advice on that. But I just think the time frame
Yeah,
that they recommended, unless we can work something out, but the time frame they recommended.
what I
doesn't
had literally told them, it's a fantastic idea of what they're saying, but we're looking at a school dance. We're not looking at the school prom. And if we did a prom, absolutely. I think if we overthink it, we have to think it properly and think it thoroughly. But if we overthink it, we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot. And as everything goes, it will go nowhere. So it's I don't want to say it's unfortunate, but we need to be careful in what we're doing. Having the officers on board and having all the key components addressed. But if we overplan this, in other words, if we plan it for 30 people, that I think is what's going to come out. But if we're overplanning it, it could handle 1,000 people, and only 30 people show up. Why do we do this? And so I think we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot if we go that angle. Nonetheless, we need to be careful in everything that we're doing and make sure everything is proper. So whatever we do, if we're flexible in how we're doing it. So if we're going through back streets on a roadway, it can handle a larger group of people as opposed to if we cross the Palmetto, go under, and we're only counting on the sidewalk for three people. It's not going to work for 30.
I totally understand. I'm just thinking as far as having waivers signed, making sure people have helmets, the helmets are properly placed on there. I mean, I know there's a lot that goes into the bike ride.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of legal safety issues that go into the bike ride. So perhaps inviting somebody from the NIC to be our guide in what we need to do is prudent at this time, because we just want to make sure we check all the boxes when it comes to safety. And
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there an entrance into from 87th Avenue into the Satori and the Lennar Marbella? Is there an entrance from 87? There is an entrance on 87 that we can enter and loop around, right, and go around south to 154. I know you guys don't want to cross the bridge going to Hialeah Gardens or anything.
And real brief, just to throw it out there, you may, if you do plan on going into Satori, because it is a private community, you may want to reach out to their HOA and let them
Correct.
know, because they have private roads and a private entrance, and so you might need to get permission in order to do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They have damage. A lot of residents there have come to me stating the same. So it may be good on all angles to go through there. So if we left out of Royal Oaks Park and enter in through Satori or Marbella, I guess I didn't realize that the lake that's in there, and we circled around, come out on out of Satori's exit to 154, up 154 to 87th south and into the neighborhood, something like that. I mean, obviously, we need to go do the route first to see what we're seeing and verify.
Right. So we need to. There's two ways to look at it. We prepare the route basically the loop we want to do it, and then figure out where the stops are,
Right.
or find the stops and make the route based off
Incorporate.
that. I mean, better of the area and who wants to have us come by and who doesn't. But that's the first thing, is to get this route, because without a route, we can't. We have to submit that to the police department.
Help had given me Villa Vizcaya. I'm not familiar with the names of the neighborhood itself. Villa Vizcaya is by where? East side of 87. So that's on that's crossing 87.
Yeah, that's down east of 87, but down about under like 145th.
Okay.
140th.
Just so you know, she mentions Villa Vizcaya for a quick talk with the property owners by the pool area. Continue to follow Commerce Way business section a few, selected a few to greet us and show the damages at the business section. Across the section 1, the guard gate, which I believe is where her house is at. And she's offering her house as well for refreshments. Goes there back, starting to the Park West and reaching Oak Lane and entering the finish line. So these are the areas that she's suggesting, and then obviously other areas that people want to suggest to pass by or volunteer the other damages to view. So go through business, commercial, any restaurants, the parks, Royal Oaks. I mean, I know in, wow, I'm out of blank now. What's the park on behind Montrose Park? At the community center there, you can look at the sidewalks. They're cracked. There's damages. The Sea Scouts used to meet there, and we're well versed in that.
Still there.
But is that tree damage or is that?
No, it's the sidewalk is lifted where the flagpole is. It's shattered, and there's no trees there.
I'm just a little concerned about the scope. This is, and again, I've walked this whole area. This is bigger than it looks on this map. This is a lot to ride. I would suggest maybe not making a decision today, but maybe looking at all the examples that people have given you, 10 to 15 in a general area, because I can tell you that is,
Yeah, going up and down Commerce. I mean,
that is a lot
that is
to
a
ride,
lot.
brother.
Yeah,
Or at least I'm not in shape. I'm not in shape for that. That is
we'll pull you. We'll pull you.
a lot.
Are you just gonna limit it to the Miami Lakes area, or you want to look?
This will be limited to Miami Lakes. Yeah.
I like the idea of Satori, especially because it's all new construction. If there's people there complaining, and another thing with Satori is there's an HOA that could have a little bit of a voice if I don't know how interested the HOA is in it, in this cause. I mean, everyone let me know, but I think what we need to do is map out where we know there's people that would want us to stop and have that sent out by the town to all the members. And then we can all try to, at the next meeting, which we would want to have soon, try to agree to the route based off where, one, we know where people are willing to have us, right? And then two, try to limit it to make it very doable for anybody.
Does anybody know any for the HOA for Satori? We have contacts on that.
No, but I'm sure that, I mean, we can probably figure it out. It's Lennar and
Right.
pretty wide open with
It's
that.
just easier if we knew somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't even know anyone that lives there right now.
We can reach
I mean,
out to
we
them.
can find out. I mean, I can find out.
Yeah, if you want to just contact them and let's figure out who we can talk to at the HOA.
I think a good point would be to just, the park, work your way down between the park and Barbara Goldman and just snake your way through. And like you said, I mean, Satori will be a great spot. I wasn't aware of Satori having complaints about
Yeah, there's a lot.
blasting and cracks, because that's actually very surprising.
Brand new, right? So, I mean, there's that way, or there's the other way of after Satori going east, Miami Lakes, and up 82nd Ave if we wanted to do War Oaks and those areas that are also the more, I mean, everywhere obviously has this.
There's a
right.
sorry, on 87th. Like, you can walk right in there and go into Royal Oaks.
Right. I mean, I think in reality, I really love the Satori idea just because it really shows these houses, or some of these houses are not even a year old.
Right.
And then I think we have to base it off where we know we can have people that are willing to have a stop. And either we go down Miami Lakes and up 82nd and we have the Royal Oaks and other communities there, or keep going down towards Barbara Goldman.
I don't think they're even finished complete. I mean, I don't even think the store is completed with all their houses.
No, they're not even done yet.
Yeah. That through the chair, that makes sense. If we get a better understanding who's willing to let us stop there, then the route obviously is going to be based on who said yes. So, and let's do that first.
And who would reach out to them?
Well, I mean, Miguel, I know you'd have a few people that you're already aware of, right?
I don't know. People have approached me.
Right.
A lot of people approached me.
Yeah. I mean, so again, this is
It's a matter of cold calling, but as I was asking, if somebody knew anybody in there,
right.
it'd be easier. But if not,
I think if the homeowners association has any liaison publicly listed on the internet, you can just call them and ask them if
they're part of they have a committee with the town, right? Correct?
I mean, I could definitely reach out.
Satori and the Marbella, that whole area. There's two committees in there, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm
It's
not
a
aware of them
story,
being
yeah.
part of any committee.
I thought
No.
They're not a special taxing district.
No. Okay, I thought I had seen one of them.
I will volunteer to reach out to the HOA. Ray, would you also do it, or you want to do it together? Or yeah,
Awesome.
I'll reach out to him.
and then the person who reaches out to the HOA
Yeah.
should just ask them who do they know who has suffered from blasting.
Sure.
Right. They can identify, and I'm sure they have an email list amongst themselves that we can
Rafael?
go around and.
All right.
Yep.
So
All right,
let's
so-
Satori down to get
Yeah.
those addresses.
So for a record, Steve, I'll reach out to him.
Okay. All right.
Rafael de la Vega. Yeah.
So we're
And then-
we're starting out then at the soccer park.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement where we want to start. And I
Yeah,
think we're in
soccer
agreement
park is
that
perfect.
we're going to go south. I think the only question is, do we go east on Miami Lakes Drive or continue south on 87th? And I think
Yeah.
that's dependent on who. And I guess what we need to do is everyone needs to reach out to people they know. I mean, I live in Royal Oaks West. Thankfully, I don't notice a ton of damage, but I've seen some. Obviously, happy to have. Maybe Miguel can come to my house first and inspect it and show me all the damage. I'm sure he'll find it.
Hope was having drinks for us. What do you have in your house then?
I mean, obviously, I'm open to have my house over in Royal Oaks, but I think that's the key is we got to reach out and see where people are in the next meeting, determine the spots, and that will determine the end point.
I think we would have to have two separate persons to reach out to either HOA for south of Miami Lakes Drive or east for the Royal Oak section and see which one is, I guess, would have more examples of damage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to reach out to my own HOA,
Yeah,
of course, and
if you could please.
and I'm happy to speak to my neighbors.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see who's interested in that area of Royal Oaks West is where I live.
All right.
And then, well, everyone else reach out to where people you know, and I know Miguel has the people that reach out to him often, and at that point, then we can determine where we finish this route.
So for the next subcommittee meeting, if you could just bring those addresses that are willing to show their houses in Royal Oaks. And then, excuse me, Miguel, would you have addresses in south of Miami Lakes Drive?
I don't have any. I mean, this we're planning. I'm with you as far as level of who, what, where. I have nothing.
Okay.
People have reached out to me, but it's not something formal where they've gotten their address and their
Right.
contact and all that.
Understand.
But
So
I
share on
think
your Facebook page? Didn't they have?
we could do it. Yeah, we'll post it and
Yeah.
and on next door as well. But I think the bigger question is more of how to get there, and then we can adjust.
Yeah.
So if we did from the park into the Lennar development around Satori, exit out 154, that brings us to that point. Then from it, there's actually you can cross in south into that neighborhood.
Well, yeah, that's why we want to know what addresses are being willing
Correct,
to
but
show.
I'm my thing right now is how to meander through to get to neighborhood, not
Okay.
not a specific location. I think that's what the officers need to know, what major intersection that we're crossing.
Got it.
The chair, definitely 82nd all the way through 87th. I mean, all the way down.
At this point, the only part we're going to 87th is just getting from the park, going south for a little bit. No speeding on there, by the way. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The only specific intersection that would that seems like a problem is Miami Lakes Drive and 87th at this point.
Right.
Again, though, I think then we can determine now if we want that we continue to go south and then only look for homeowners south, or we could determine if maybe there's people in Royal Oaks, Silvercrest area that want to.
Let me ask you, is it too much? I don't think it's that much, but if we did this route, go into that neighborhood towards parallel to 75, and I know there's a street, I don't remember the street it is, that crosses 87th, that it's basically the north side of the commercial area to get back into that neighborhood. And I apologize, I don't know the names of the neighborhoods. No, south of Miami Lakes Drive. It's before, there's a light there actually, before the bridge. Okay. And then,
Serenity Point?
that's it. And then make our way back up through Royal Oaks back to the park. I think that yeah. Right. And then go all the way up to where the canal is, the bike path, back to 87th Avenue, and the park is just stone's throw away from that point.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, right.
Right.
It doesn't seem too bad.
So just to be clear, we're sticking to the south one.
It seems like that's gonna be the most feasible
Okay.
grouping. That way we could start and stop at the same area.
So then the chairman would not have to contact his association.
We do need to contact every area to see who would be
Okay.
willing to share their damages.
Got it. Okay. Understood.
Right. I mean, the more names, the more
Got it.
availability we have, the better. And then we could see the route. I like the route you suggested. And then,
Seems doable.
yeah, I think that's doable. I mean, I guess we could pin in how many miles, but at the same time, remember, we are stopping. So it's not like it'll be a 7 miles straight. I mean, there's going to be 10, 15-minute stops along the way, right? So it's certainly doable. This is coming from someone who doesn't even own a bike, but I think it's fine.
Sorry, through the chair, we also have to find out how many hours Tom Fabrizio is available.
We're gonna make them ride.
Oh, I mean, we would just, and we're also inviting. Are we also inviting town officials? What?
I think it'd be appropriate.
Okay.
I mean,
So.
No, yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah,
town
absolutely.
officials, Representative Bricefield,
Sure.
any other. I mean, I think if any other representatives,
I know
county commissioners. I mean,
Councilman Diego's rides. So
right. I mean,
Everybody who we can.
everybody we can. 100%.
So.
Let me throw one other thing in there. I just tried to call. Yeah, I'm trying to get a hold of my sergeant who has coordinated these things before, because they may have, and so will the neighborhood improvement committee, and so might Will from upstairs. We might have some old maps with predetermined routes already, and you guys can use that kind of as a basis to kind of, build upon what you have. So if you have a list of those addresses, we'll try and get somebody to provide some of those older maps just so that you guys can look at those and go, look, they went here, left, right, and this map right here might be the best for us to kind of cover some of the areas that we want.
Okay, great. Yeah, that would be great if when you get that, you can have the town share it with us.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So just to confirm what I'm thinking, we're going to have another subcommittee meeting to then confirm the route.
We need to have multiple subcommittee meetings, yeah, as this develops.
Right.
Okay. And then so
I think we're clear on what everyone should do on the route issue is speak to HOAs who you're assigned to, and then obviously just speak to your neighbors and people that live here, especially in that general area, and see if they're interested. Just interested. If we get a ton of people interested, then we're only going to pick a few.
Right.
And I guess we're also posted on Facebook and have a way for them to contact us and gather interest to have stopovers.
absolutely. And speaking of Facebook, something that just popped into my head, would we be able to use the Facebook Live on the town's page to give interviews to the people we meet on this route?
That's something that we'd have to coordinate with our social media specialist. We can certainly request it.
Yeah. Up to the chair. Up to the chair if you would like that for the bike ride.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
As long as the town's available, and I guess we would need to have the social media specialist with us on the ride.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Okay. So that's another request we would want to make, and I don't know if there's a cost to that since it's going to be on a weekend, but we'll figure that out.
All right.
Through the chair, have we discussed setting a tentative date for this yet?
Well, at the last meeting, we're discussing, I don't know if it's September or August. I mean, there's got to be a realistic timeline because
I'm
We'll have to
thinking
go in
probably
front of the
August.
council.
With all the factors involved, August might be
Yeah.
the most
August.
appropriate time
right.
to allow us for the items that we have to address.
To present to the council, get the budget, and then have the sergeant help him plan the route.
Correct.
When is the next council meeting? What's the date? Do we know?
July 13th.
So that leaves us 2 weeks. I recommend 2 weeks to get everything straightened out so that we can present it to the council and hopefully get a positive approval on this.
Well, actually, you need to bring your findings from this meeting to your general board for their approval, and then you can go to council.
When is our next,
Right. So that would be a approval from the board at the end of this month.
Right, so we're gonna have to have another meeting of the main committee prior to the council meeting, because if not, we meet afterwards. We meet on the
Right.
19th. And they're meeting on the week prior.
Well, I think, right. I think the other thing that we want to confirm is the representative's availability in August to make sure there's specific dates that if he's not open on
Right.
specific weekends.
I'll reach out to him.
And I guess also maybe get his availability for the first week or two of September, just to see
Then,
the best way.
It seems like a tiny detail, but it's popping into my head. We would also be providing water, correct, for the bike riders, or
Hope had a few locations that people, I'm assuming, are volunteering to have water stops, if you will. So
Okay.
where we stop to meet somebody, and that can be coordinated just the same. If we're starting and ending at a park, by default, that's taken care of there. But I think that's doable. But yes, it needs to be brought to light that it happens.
okay.
I guess we'll speak to the people that are willing to have their homes and speak to them about providing just some bottled water.
Right.
Anyone can spend $5 on a few cases of water, but your good point should be confirmed. But hopefully, the people that agree to use their homes will help us with that.
And then
If we're looking to present on the 13th, we need to provide prior for the request. What's the deadline for that date?
The item must be included in the agenda, and that deadline is Tuesday, the 6th. The agenda goes out on that Wednesday.
Okay.
The 6th?
And we're closed on the 5th.
I mean, on that timeline, I don't think it's feasible to have a general board meeting and quorum in the same amount of
Yeah, I
time
know.
and have to get it. I mean, I don't know.
I think we would
Town
have
can
to.
tell us.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be enough time. We would have to present it to the council in August and not July, because we still have another subcommittee meeting to go.
Well, we could present to them, even though the ride may be later, but I think we need to get earlier than not in case anything else needs to be worked out. It gives us a little margin of window to do so.
Right.
So it's not necessarily that the ride is going to be the 17th per se, and the council approves on the 13th, we submit on the 6th. That's not feasible. But even if the ride, second week of August or something.
The council does meet in August.
I guess if you can give us some clarification. So we are we don't even have the final route. What exactly, the general board already approved wanting to have the bike ride, right? So now we're here getting the details down. And then the general board needs to then approve the specific details of the ride, basically what's going to be presented to the town council.
Not only that, but what funding you're requesting
Right.
from the council.
Okay. And the council is on the 13th. So if we're open for discussion,
We have to get it before the 6th.
right, the funding request and everything.
Right.
Yeah. And have to have a general board meeting before the 6th.
We have a week.
Right. Not even a week because the 6th is next week. It's next Tuesday.
The 6th is next Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess don't see it
Yeah.
being feasible.
Plus we have Thursday and Friday.
That's
the
it.
weekends
It's
off.
just- we have 2 days.
We just have Thursday and Friday because Monday is
A holiday.
holiday.
Yeah.
We just have
Yeah. The timing of the
2
council
days.
meeting and this meeting. And I don't think it's feasible to add a general board meeting before the 6th, is it?
plus another subcommittee meeting.
Well, yeah. I don't even know if that's feasible.
So
Given it has to be posted and open to the public, correct?
so then the bike ride would most likely be not in August but in September.
Yeah, I think if we just aim for September and just push hard on that, that's going to be the most realistic.
It could still be in
Opportunity.
August, but
I guess it could
Yeah.
still be in August,
Yeah,
depending
yeah,
on
that's
when.
I think let's get dates available.
I think we got to confirm.
Not,
Yeah,
we have to be
correct.
general at this point, not
Okay,
specific, but it's a soft date. And obviously towards the end of August is school starts and all that. So, there's always an excuse is the problem.
Yeah.
But if we allow ourselves to be hindered by every excuse in the book, nothing gets done.
Yeah.
So I don't advise that. We go for it and you just do it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
It is what comes out.
So let's just set a date for our next meeting.
I think so. I think we'll get a date for the next meeting. We'll have a date from Fabricio, his availability. And at the next meeting, we have the concrete date.
Right.
Hopefully we can speak to the HOAs and start getting within this boundary of the route, the stops.
Right. That's the key. So when can we have our next meeting? I guess that's the next question. When I have another subcommittee meeting is pretty much as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I guess Claricel, through the chair, how long would you need to,
To schedule a next
I
subcommittee?
what's the quickest, you can
Right.
legally do that and put it out there for the public and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm looking at the calendar. It looks like next Wednesday. Next Wednesday looks clear. Let me just
The 7th.
confirm on the town calendar. Yeah. We can squeeze something in on Wednesday, the 7th.
That works for me. Anybody?
Yeah, the 7th.
Yeah, works for me.
Okay for me.
And this is a subcommittee for the bike ride.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. And what time is that? Is it 5:30 again?
We can do 5:30.
Okay, as long as we got all our tasks done, are we ready to move on?
All right, so I think we should go over the tasks.
Yeah, let's go over the
Let's
task
confirm,
again. So,
I got Fabricio the date.
right, you got Fabricio, Satori HOA, and everybody should be reaching out to either if they live in HOA or people they know or their neighbors,
Yeah.
so we can confirm who's
Absolutely.
willing to have a stop at their home.
All right. Yeah, I have a few people in mind.
I will reach out to the town regarding the cost of having social media present.
Okay.
And then with that information, we should be able to finalize a route at the next meeting next week.
Once we get the date, I can contact the news.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I forgot about that.
I was just interviewed with Channel 51.
Yeah.
I was all day with them today.
so you'll clear the Fabricio's schedule, and then once we get a date, then we'll reach out to all the other
Media
elected
outlets.
officials, media, and well, I guess you can work the media how you wish, because we want to choose our date. We also want to make sure it's happening on that date, but we'll start working on that.
Check weather, maybe.
It's unpredictable.
So morning should be okay.
Through the chair, I wanted to bring up a new business item, but I guess we can't do it through here. It's through the actual committee. Let me just, can I say and you let me know what
I guess you can bring up a.
You got to tell that chair from that committee.
through the chair. Sorry, I keep looking at you,
No,
man. I
the other
apologize.
chair.
Of course. I was watching the news day before yesterday, and Mayor Cava she announced she was putting together a committee to basically review all the older buildings in the county, and start a committee to put people on that committee to go over buildings that are 30, 40 years old, and kind of review the whole process on inspections. And I was wondering, is there any way we can ask to have one of us be put on that committee, and also focus on, hey, blasting, what effect is blasting having on foundations, especially in this area where buildings are over 40 years old? Could that be added to the review they're doing in the county? If we can ask, I guess, we approve it, and then we take it to our council, the council approves it, and then we ask the chair, we ask to be put on that committee.
Right. I think that would be something for the main board.
Okay.
Great idea, though. I think we all think that's great, and I have a good
I
person
don't see
to
why not.
suggest to put on that type
I
of
don't
thing.
see why not.
But I think that would have to go through their next main board meeting.
All right, so-
and then bring that up, and then let's.
Yeah, what-
So Clarissa,
we need to bring our public works director in here. That's what we have to do.
So I would just send you an email to add that to the next agenda, or do we have to?
Sure, you can send me an email, but I just, I did a little research and I reached out to the Mayor Cava's contact. They haven't reached back out to me, but I think what is happening is that the county is doing an internal audit of county buildings. I don't believe that they've set up a board or set up a committee or any of that. I'm waiting to hear back from them.
Okay.
But we'll have time between now and our next meeting.
Yeah, as long as we put,
But she said some.
Yeah.
That
might have been off the cuff.
some sort of order. Yeah.
That might have been off the cuff, because she sounded like she was, and we're going to start a committee and just like that.
But I
Right, but I think it's buildings.
read it quickly, but it seemed like it was the buildings that have reached the 40-year certification.
Right.
To have them recertified was what I understood of that.
Again, we have to find out the details, but that's a great way of putting blasting. Hey, 40 years of blasting, what has that done to foundations? Just to raise the awareness of our situation. Unfortunately, it's a disaster, but if we can just get something positive out of it, maybe.
I've been just a side note. provided several reports now of pile driving and its effects on concrete. And it will be on the agenda for one of the upcoming meetings shortly. So I need to review it myself and understand it properly, and I will present it to the committee.
Is there any further business for our major, or can we allow him to?
No, I think he's, I think we appreciate you giving the information. It was really important that we have that information, and I think we're good, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, Major.
If I may, the route then that we're discussing, opinions on that?
I mean, again, and once you guys have a route in mind, what you want to do is drive the route, take a look at the distance as well, and see what the distance is on your vehicle so that you can kind of gauge it and go, all right, here's a good 3-mile route. You know, I'm off the top of my head. Unfortunately, I have, you know, the NRU sergeant is the one that normally plans these out, and it's usually a good like 5 to 6 mile ride the way they do things. So you may want to kind of gauge yourself off of that. But once we get some of those routes to you guys as well, we can kind of, you know, gauge it from there. But the route seems doable. It's not crossing through, you know, Palmetto Expressway. Our involvement really is limited. And at the end of the day, if you guys all decided to just jump on your bikes and start riding down the street, you could technically do it as long as you followed all the traffic laws. The only thing that we're kind of looking at is, in order to allow you guys quicker access to certain areas, to shorten the time, is to maybe break down some of the intersections. And that's why we'll be leapfrogging from one to the other in order to allow you guys, you know, easier access from one to the other. So that being said, it's really doable for us. And if the number is right, we may be able to do it with a minimum number of vehicles in terms of that. So.
Just to piggyback from what he's saying, I mean, if we focus maybe on a Saturday, it's going to be a lot less traffic than a weekday. So,
of course, and I think that
Or
might
Sunday.
be, you know, not that I would go into this, but that's also where you're going to get most of your audience, right? You know, if you do it at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, everybody's going to work, you know, so that's why we normally do these things on a Saturday or a Sunday. If you choose a holiday, we may be able to use on-duty personnel a little bit easier. For example, Monday or something like that, but there's no holidays coming up. So other than the 4th of July. So that being said, and then, you know, weekdays, if you choose a school day, which looking second half of August is what you were doing, it would be completely inadvisable as well. So yeah, you're looking at Saturday, the earlier the better. Remember that if you choose 11 a.m., you guys are going to be sweating really, really bad. And then are you guys looking at ending someplace as well in the same park and doing some type of rally there as well?
Not at that day.
Not that day. So you're looking at a rally another day.
Right.
Okay. So real briefly on the rally aspect of it, just keep us informed regarding that. Again, depending on how many people you have, you might not need us at all, or if you're expecting 3,000 people, you might need us for traffic control, you know, in and out of the location. For example, July 4th coming up this Saturday is a perfect example. We're going to be there for safety, obviously, and security of the patrons that are going to be at the park. But our biggest responsibility and duty is going to be in terms of traffic flow as everybody leaves at the end of the night and ensuring everybody gets out, shutting down intersections and such. So just keep that in mind in terms of the rally aspect of it in the future, that again, you might need us as well for that. So just let us know how many you're planning, what you got going on, and we may or may not be needed with that. I mean, it depends totally on what you guys are
As far as a rally of that nature, the permits required, assembly permit, sound permit, What else is needed?
I know that the permitting process does, like I see it when it comes through my desk, and it always talks about, there's one page that talks about security and police, and that's what I focus most of my attention on. And if it's not applicable to us, it's not applicable. So I think the town can talk you through more of the permitting process than I can, because I don't deal with that aspect of it other than to review it simply for the police aspect of it.
I mean, I know the events that I do, it requires a sound permit.
Right.
And to get the sound permit, you need the off-duty officers. So it's kind of like a catch-22 that's done. Assembly, I don't need because it's on private property. But we're not looking at, we're looking at different options for now, but assembly permit is valid, correct?
Right. I mean, the town will probably answer those questions better than I will. If you guys hold a rally and you don't request police at all, that's totally incumbent upon you guys, but the town may not approve it if there's not sufficient security, or if they foresee a traffic issue occurring, as a result of how many people you're going to have there. So, there's not necessarily, there are people who hold, parking lot get-togethers and things of that nature, and may hold an assembly and not necessarily utilize off-duty. You can utilize FHP as an off-duty. You can utilize your own security so there's a lot that, that's involved in that, that the town's going to have to guide you on. I can tell you that if you foresee 1,000 cars driving to this one spot, then I think the town's going to make it mandatory that you guys hire or establish a budget for us, just like for the bike ride. So,
Miguel, it was my understanding that this rally would not be held within town limits. Is that still?
Yeah, the venue hasn't been finalized, but we're looking at different options. I mean, that's what we're here for. But it may be one of the locations discussed was at the Park and Ride on the end of Miami Gardens. So that's under FDOT jurisdiction. I don't know if the Dade County would go in there or FHP.
It depends on what you guys got planned, but if you were to do the Park and Ride, you can hire off-duty police officers from Northwest District. You can hire off-duty officers from FHP. You can hire your own security. You obviously got to get permission to be at the Park and Ride, I guess, from Miami-Dade County. So I'm really not familiar right now with what you would need to do it at that location in those terms. If you did it at, the parking lot here in Town Hall, and I'm just throwing that out there, then obviously you need to get a permit, you need to get permission, you need to, follow all those protocols, and the town would have to guide you in that.
Right. Thank you.
Through the chair, what was the proposed, or I guess tentative date of the rally?
The date?
Or have you guys discussed?
No, we haven't.
No, that was preliminary, and that that's one of the business items. And I know we're running out of time a little bit. I think we'll definitely skip over
Table that until next time.
I mean, we might want to. I think maybe we should all discuss and come to an agreement. The rally is important. I think the bike ride should be the main priority right now, and focus all our efforts there to, like you said, get it done. And I think focusing on that will get it done. I think we tabled B and C for next meeting, but still keep updates on the Blasting Bike Ride first for the next meeting.
I think the rally is obviously a bigger to do. I don't want to say not prioritize it, but I think because it's a bigger to do, the amount of effort of items that need to be addressed are spread out. So right. I think it would behoove us to begin allocating tasks to start gathering this information so that the next meeting, in other words, break it down further. Although the bike ride, you got to go gung ho and get it done, but the rally is something big. And that, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
I think that we need to start talking to see we got to see what contacts we got,
Right.
and start getting them done. Just to say, Angela had mentioned about the park and ride, which I think is a perfect location because it's empty. It's a big parking lot.
Yeah.
It's close to Miramar. It's next to the mine. You could see Big Blue from it. I think it's a perfect location myself. However, maybe they say you can't do it there, period.
Right. And
All bets are off.
I mean, first,
Also-
yeah, we need someone to speak to the accounting.
I agree. And also one
Right
point
up
that he just made with Officer Ruiz which was maybe use this parking lot back here. You can probably bring that, for the purpose of optics, bring it out to 67th Avenue, and hold up signs, do anything right in front of Miami Lakes, so you can have
Those fields there would,
right in front of Chella's or in this area.
Main Street,
Um,
Main Street.
The parking ride is a great idea location wise, but it's kind of like you're really isolated. You're far off in left field versus kind of like
yeah, but
using our own parking lot right here.
this
No.
wouldn't be big enough though. Because it's not just the people, it's the cars as they get there, they got to park somewhere.
If we use somewhere that we already have a captive audience, for
Well,
example,
car wise, I mean, we have a parking lot back here too.
yeah. For example, Main
Parking lot
Street,
is pretty much open.
Main Street has parking everywhere.
And parking behind. Yeah.
They have Saturday, they have already a couple thousand people going through there because of the farmer's market, which is not really a farmer's market. I mean, they sell everything. I mean, it's
But it's also awareness. I mean, we can walk around,
Yeah.
talk to people about that.
usually they close off the street and they allow stages right between 100 Montaditos and Salsa Fiesta. I know they sometimes they close that off. We already have thousands of people there. It's easy parking. People that are not even there for the rally will hear the noise, maybe walk over. An isolated area we would have to do an amazing job with marketing to get people over there.
But remember, it's also not just Miami Lakes. This is a joint effort with Miramar. So we want something that, ideally, something neutral, quote unquote,
Okay.
so that both sides can meet somewhere and merge. Let's say. And I'm not saying the park and ride is the ideal location either, or is it? I don't know. There's a park just on 87th Avenue behind the Sedanos and Publix over there. There's a little park there. Our Academy uses it for their events.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the name of that park that's there?
That's
Which
Lakes on
one?
the Green, right? Lakes on the Green.
The
Lakes on the Green.
Where Lakes on the Green is.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a park there.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing it in other areas. I like the park and ride because of the adjacency to the mine.
Oh, that's great. But to
Yeah.
get all the resources out there, stage,
I mean,
we're-
it's surprising to see how
It's
big
gonna cost,
of
but-
an impact it makes just going over a bridge. You might not think it is, but I mean,
Yeah.
just people thinking I have
What
to
if
go
we did it on the
opposite
bridge?
side.
On the bridge itself.
Oh, I mean,
smart.
obviously,
170th Street Bridge.
I
That's
mean,
actually not bad.
we can
idea.
hold up the signs over I-75. I think that's the most impactful thing. man.
That'd be perfect.
That's
actually a good
awesome,
idea.
man.
Hold
That's a
it.
great idea.
Hold it over Pembroke Road and
Or the
170th?
the bridge to
170
nowhere.
bridge would be pretty wild.
170th.
Bridge
But
to
the
nowhere.
154 has a park already.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
Yep.
As long as it stays there.
that would definitely be more crazier. But
Well,
I mean, I just think that I'm thinking more like maybe along the lines of where Ray is thinking also is just maybe more wow factor, more impactful. I think the parking right location wise makes sense because you have a direct view to the location, but maybe nobody looks right. Everybody always goes west. I mean, sorry, east. So
Yeah,
everybody
right.
turns, and I just think more impactful will probably be not disturbing the farmers market or anything, but I mean if people are surrounded in the area, it's probably most likely going to be people from this area. So even having like a little flashcard with some information about the blasting committee and stuff, and just handing out to people walking through the farmers market. Hey, listen, this
Yeah,
is
but you're also diluting the effect of the purpose of the rally, which is the other thing. You know, I like the idea of having it in Main Street, and it's obviously helping all entities out. But is that what we want to do as far as keeping it pure about the rally and issue? Have the media bring the news camera, and you want to cry, the camera's there. Now's your opportunity. Is that impactful, or having it here intermingled with the farmers market and the vendors and the businesses? I think it would get diluted in a locale like this. If we had it back here in this parking lot, I don't think it's big enough, but nonetheless, I don't think it's proper for the residences here either, is to look at.
When, I guess, the goal for the rally, what's the goal of attendees?
The goal for the rally is obviously to raise attention. That's
Right.
our biggest thing. If we can get news crews out, if we can show a force that there's communities that are joining together on a common goal, I think it'll speak volumes. It has yet to be done.
Right.
The bottom line has yet to be done. So we got to think of something, think out of the box. We're talking about having hot dogs and sodas. As soon as people hear free food, that's enough reason to go complain about something. I know Costco donates for community events like this. I was told the legislators will do the same, that they have discretion funds to do things like this. And it's just, and it's not long-term either. And 2 hours, I think, start to finish. But I think it's something like that. Have you guys were involved in any of the food distribution over the summer or over the pandemic?
No.
Okay, I did a number of them, and it's just a short time. And the one on 87th Avenue closed the I-75 down. The line of cars was insane.
Yeah.
That made the news. So, and it's just a skinny line of cars. It wasn't really a big deal when you think about it, but it was the impact what they were doing. And I think if we can capture that type of impact, the portion of the fact, I think it's ideal.
And I agree, but when we're looking at a location, what's the location that's going to bring the people? I don't know. I really don't think the park and ride is that location. The park and ride will be where a family wants to go and spend an hour. I don't think it is. I agree. It's a great location because where it is between Dade and Broward, you can see the quarries from there. I think that part is all great, and it makes it perfect. My concern on the park and ride is, are people going to go there when we have other places where there already are some people there and it's more familiar, right? For at least for Miami Lakes.
Maybe we can even just do both at the same time. Do that over there with the Miramar group, and then end it over here with free food and whatever.
Right. I don't think people will be moving.
Yeah.
They'll go and then go home.
It's too much.
Right. But we do need to. We don't even know if we can do it at the park and ride.
Yeah.
So first thing is somebody needs to reach out.
I like the soccer park because I think that's a very easy access to get to.
Agreed.
And it's centrally located
and it's
also.
on the west side of town.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good location as well.
And it can house a good amount of people.
Oh, yeah.
There's facilities there. And obviously the town take advantage of the town sponsoring something like that.
So maybe the first thing is to even see if the park and ride's feasible, if they even allow it. Who control your DOT controls it, or Dade County?
I think it's Dade County because it's for the transportation.
Right. Okay. I mean, good luck getting an answer from the county. Honestly, maybe I don't know if the town could help us in reaching out to a representative of the county that would, to even know if it's feasible to use that lot for a rally.
Yeah, Renee Garcia.
This is what park and ride, the
186 on
in
west of
Miami
75.
Gardens?
Yeah.
We can definitely reach out.
If we can get someone to reach out to see if that's even feasible, and that might just cut that out on its own.
Yeah.
And then we need to pick a location. And once we have that location, then we can really start location. Then with the location, secure a date. Right.
Well, right. We need this location, a date, the food, music.
Right. And we're going to try to do this jointly with Miramar.
Correct.
So one, we have to speak with them, and two, we probably want to have them come to maybe not the next meeting, but invite them to a subcommittee meeting and
They were
work with
they
them.
were invited here. They had an email blast went out, and the agenda was submitted to all of Miramar and specific to their advisory board. I was told. Claire, so do we have people online? The way it's shown here, before you could see who's online and who's not.
Starting June 1st, we are not monitoring Zoom. We only use it for the live streaming portion. So if people are trying to get on, which I think Angel pointed out, somebody was trying to get on, we don't have IT providing us support. Was that your question?
Well, the question was, can we know if somebody's watching or not? The way the meetings were being held before, you could see who's online or not. We can no longer see that. And I don't know why we're not on the screen that we could see. My eyes aren't as young as they used to be.
On YouTube, there's nobody watching. And
Hi, Mom.
the Facebook connection has been off, so.
Yeah,
So
through the
that's
chair,
another
that's a separate, that was a separate discussion you guys had this week about why that ended. I know some of the, but that's a different discussion, guys.
Yeah.
Clara, so she's had nothing to do with that.
Now I understand the Hope's statement and the public statement.
It all comes down to resources. We had IT support during the pandemic, which we don't have anymore.
Could we volunteer IT support? Could we volunteer IT support?
Can we volunteer for them to stay?
No, for us to do it?
No, they're not gonna allow the public to go in
And turn on the button.
and manage. That's a
So we-
security issue.
So we can't do TikTok videos and put it out? Okay. TikTok blasting videos?
Those
Stay
are
off the
canceled.
table.
Those are canceled.
Okay, so back on point regarding the rally, we're trying to get a word from the county through the town if the park and ride is not is feasible. But regardless, I think at the next meeting we all want to have ideas on where we want to have it, and at the next meeting we should pretty much make a decision on one or two venues, and then we'll start reaching out to those venues. And also, obviously, a date. Miguel, do you have any idea of when you believe we should have the date?
Was that like Angelo's? Angelo was taking care of that. He wanted to see if he can
Well-
reach out to them.
He's not here, so
Yeah.
I think the most effective would probably be in September
Right.
to get it just before session again. Got to keep the traction that's moving. I think that would be the most effective as the goal date. Sometime in September. I don't know what would be better, earlier, mid, or end.
I'm sorry, through the chair. I'm drawing a blank. It just ended. The session, next legislation starts when?
I mean, I know it's end of October, no?
It's October, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometime.
So,
You guys are the attorneys, huh?
Well, the legislature?
Yeah.
yeah,
January,
January, right?
But don't we have one in October?
60 days.
No, it's January to
We only have 60 days in the state of Florida.
yeah. So,
The government, the federal government, they come back in October.
no,
That they do. But
so
Florida is only
since our
60
bill didn't
days.
even make it through committee,
Right.
a rally close to the session or a month before the session or something to
Right.
point, to get, and if we get as many people involved, pushing them before they go to Tallahassee, say, hey, you know, I know Representative Fabrizio tried really hard and it was super disappointed it didn't work out. But yeah, if we have a rally, I'm sure he'll support that a little bit before the session, you know,
So that's
to keep it fresh in their minds.
Yeah, January, February.
Right. I know the regular session is in January, but I
Right.
believe
I thought
they're,
they had, like, this past year, they have them out in October or November, there's a,
If they have a special session,
right.
if it's, raised by the governor and stuff like that, they'll have,
so we need to find that out then.
we need to find out.
Can you reach out to Representative, see what he feels is the best time for the best, punch, bang for the buck, I guess?
Yeah, the bottom line will be supporting his effort on doing that, so whatever's most effective for
It'll
him.
probably be like in January. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess speak to the rep and see what he
Always
believes
speak
would
with
be
the
rest would be best on a date. Obviously, of course, sooner is better than later. But if he thinks there's a big positive of doing it close to the beginning of the regular session, then that could make sense.
All right, and then with permits, as the officer said, assembly and sound permit.
Right. So we're gonna have to go through, depending on the venue we choose. Then we'll go through the permitting processes. There's the town venue, a county venue, a private venue, and figure out what's required from that private venue with the county or the town. But date and location are the first two items, and then everything else should really fall in place because once we get to a date and location, we can figure out vendors who can donate, reach out to vendors willing to donate, and get everything together.
If budget becomes an issue with the town, I can tell you that Renee Garcia, Senator Renee Garcia, that's what I went through Bobo's office, and they can assist with providing officers if it's in the county.
Okay.
Obviously, the town is separate, but if that's an issue, that's what I used to do during the events.
And you said the state reps have some discretionary funds for these type of things. Is that
Also,
something?
I was told that.
I guess if it seemed political, though, I don't know. I guess they would have to make their determination.
It's correct. But then again, it may be political, but if they're representing the area that they're serving.
Right. I don't know the restrictions on those type of funds. So they would need to make that.
That's how I see it. That,
right.
It becomes political if they're doing the party side or if they're in the process of elections. But if it's an event for their district,
right.
My take, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see why not.
So that's another potential source. So again, location, if it's in the county, there might be county funding, and then to see the state representative office. Okay, it's most likely going to be in Fabrizio's district, of course. Right. But
now
I
don't know. I have been approached. I should state some on the business side that people are willing to donate stuff. Obviously, when you do it as a business, then you're exchanging for advertisement and that type of thing. So I don't know what's allowed and what's not allowed if in that angle. That if we're going through a municipality, if it's Miami Lakes, but if it's not in Miami Lakes boundaries, or if it is, it doesn't matter. I have no idea. So I don't know. Maybe Lorenzo would be answering that as well. If we're getting private parties donating. Material goods and whatnot.
Right. Those are questions for him. I don't know if we want to forward those questions to him, or if he wants to come to the next meeting.
Yeah, I'll make sure that he knows about next Wednesday's meeting and that he can make himself available if he's in town.
Right.
If not, I'll try to get those answers for you.
Okay. All right. I think we'll table B, legal review. I think it's still important, but we don't have the time.
Let me ask you, did you find anything on the Florida statute that says it's 0.50?
Anything else anyone thinks we should be coordinating specifically now at the rally before the next, for the rally session item before the next meeting on Wednesday?
So for the next meeting on 7/7, we need dates, venues,
Right.
reaching out to HOAs.
Right. So for the blasting, it's reaching out to HOAs. If you have the specific HOA, or if you live with an HOA in the area, go ahead and reach out to your own. Reach out to your neighbors and anybody else you think is willing to have us as a stop. Right. However you want to say it.
Next week?
By
I'm
next week.
Not gonna be in town. Is there a way I could call in or beforehand, give you guys out the information beforehand?
If you,
Guess
You
you have
can
to just.
send me the.
Send it to you?
Email it to Claris.
Okay, absolutely. I'll have that by this week.
Great. So yeah, send it to her and then we'll work with that.
Okay.
Through the chair, did we get the residents' information and address? And you have that to be part of the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, she said it, and I know you have it.
Okay.
So yeah, we do have that information.
actually, Adele, would you allow us to Adele? Adele, would you allow us to view your home, at least from the front exterior?
Adele says yes.
Okay. Well, there's.
You'll be one of our stops.
Yeah.
She makes a mean chilindrón.
Oh.
So she'll have a, yeah.
He said, you got hungry. Oh, just for, I will also be out of town from the 11th to the 18th of July. Is that just to let you guys know? But I'll make sure I type up all the notes and send it to Claricel about this meeting.
Right. Correct. And then I'll have a agenda ready for the meeting on Wednesday. I'll send it over to her. Anything else?
Just, when is the next big committee that we have for blasting?
We're gonna have to have,
In
we have to
July?
have another meeting, then an interim meeting, no? Once, we need the information to be able to present it to council.
Yeah.
Right. No, were you talking about the blasting board?
You
meeting?
have a July 7th meeting, which is next Wednesday,
Correct.
subcommittee. And then your next regularly scheduled meeting is the 19th.
Okay.
Right. So the 19th.
So
So
the
we're going to
19th.
have to make decisions on the July 7th meeting. So the 19th, the general board can approve it.
Is, on the 7th, is there anything after, we're meeting at 5:30. Is there any committee meeting after that?
No.
So we can
it's
do it back to
completely
back.
clear.
You think we could so have a general meeting right after? Is that possible?
If we can establish quorum,
Okay. So you, yeah.
We have to shake some trees.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Let's set that up.
So then we'll do a back to back.
but you won't make it to the agenda if that's what you're trying to do, because the agenda is generated that afternoon. You'd miss it.
Is that the goal?
That was the goal.
Oh, and I think then on the 9th, so the general meeting on the 19th,
Right.
we will meet any deadlines for the agenda on
for
August, correct?
Yes, with plenty of time.
Right. Maybe what the goal is to have another subcommittee
Yeah, I
meeting
was gonna say that.
after the 7th.
Between the 7th.
Start
Between
getting
the
tighter.
7th and 19th.
Get the-
That's going to be tough because there's regular council meetings, and there's sunshine budget meetings. So
On the 13th.
no, 13th is council meeting.
Yeah.
What about the conference room that's no longer being used?
We can't use it because we need to make sure that we live stream the meeting.
I guess if you can see for the next meeting, if the
Following the
possibility-
7th,
Yeah, before the
Before
19th.
the 19th.
Yeah.
If there's any availability, I think it would be important.
I'll have an answer on the 7th.
Okay. Right, because if we are able to do that, have 2 meetings, subcommittee meetings to have the board approve, hopefully a lot of
I
matters.
think we'd be well advanced at
Right.
that point.
Okay. Anything else anyone wants to bring forward? Okay, I think we're good. I'll move to adjourn.
A motion?
All right, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.